When it comes to business, one of the biggest fears is being sued and losing everything. So in an attempt to prevent that, people often go get LLCs to protect themselves. But here's the thing, LLCs don't provide the protection the way most people say they do. Therefore, if you really want to protect your business, do what TikTok did. Hit them with the paperwork. It truly amazes me how many people actually think that an LLC will provide them protection from litigation when it's the paperwork that protects them. Consider this. If an LLC owner, I'm going to say a single member LLC, gets sued, goes to court, and doesn't have his paperwork in order, the judge is going to consider it to be an alter ego and simply ignore the LLC and make the owner personally responsible. So if it's the paperwork that provides the protection, why don't more minority businesses focus on that? I'm going to assume that up until this video, they didn't know, which is why your favorite Uncle Cousin is here to help you out. So let's go. When it comes to the paperwork involved in business, there are a few types of documents that a business should have, but today we're only going to focus on one, and those are the terms of service, also known as, or should I say, it could be abbreviated as TOS. So when you hear me say TOS, I'm referring to the terms of service going forward. The terms of service is a legal agreement between a service provider, you, and the person to whom they are providing the service to, your customer. The TOS, remember that's terms of service, details what the service provider is responsible for and what the user is obligated to adhere to if they want to use that service. And note, the TOS needs to be agreed to first before the service is provided. If the TOS is not agreed to, the service will not be provided. Keep that in mind. Which brings us to TikTok. On May 19, 2023, TikTok updated its terms of service. Ironically, not long after Facebook got hit with a massive $725 million lawsuit. Now, I first noticed this when I attempted to go on TikTok, and when I clicked on the application, as you can see, it immediately came up or popped up U.S. Terms of Service Update. Now, like 99.9% of people who use TikTok, I definitely was tempted just to hit the I agree button and go on about my day. But I was curious. I was wondering, like, what exactly am I agreeing to? So I have not been on it since, but what we are going to do is take a look at their terms of service and see what has been updated, right? And as we go through, let me click on it. As we can see, there's approximately 14 sections of their terms of service. Now, obviously, we're not going to go through all 14, but it's important to note, it is very important to note, at least at the bare minimum, look at the titles of each of these sections, and you'll be able to see, at least just at a glance, what these terms of service is having you agree to, right? Like for example, your relationship with us, obviously is going to talk about the relationship between you and TikTok. If you look at number 2, accepting the terms, what happens when you accept the terms? So as you look at these titles, you will be able to kind of gauge what is happening with these terms of service. But specifically, I want to look at sections 1, 2, 6, 8, 10, and 12, because I do believe 12 is the part that has been updated. Still, even though we're going to look at it, I'm not going to go through it in depth. We're just going to scan it. So I encourage you, if you already clicked agree, you probably can Google TikTok's terms of service and look it up. But definitely kind of go in and take a look. But anyway, let's get to it so we can kind of take a look at what's on here. The first one, I'm not going to do this on the phone. We're going to pull this up on the desktop. Let's take a look at the first one here. Again, here we are at TikTok's terms of service. The first one, your relationship with us. And again, as I am reading this, let me put myself up here. as I am reading this, I want you to pay attention to the protective language used in these sections. Pay attention to the specific words they are using to protect themselves, okay? Let me go on and get back out here with this. So the first one, your relationship with us. You can read it. I want to focus on what's right here in bold letters. It says, these terms contain an arbitration clause and a waiver of rights to bring a class action against us and our affiliated individuals and companies. Right there in the very first section, when we talk about fear of litigation, the language in that section specifically says, by you agreeing to this, by you establishing a relationship with us, you are agreeing that you, one, will be agreeing to arbitration, okay? And I'm going to get to what arbitration is in a second. And secondly, you waive your rights to bring a class action lawsuit or participate in a class action lawsuit with us. That right there is protecting them, okay? So that's why I say when we talk about protection and getting sued, the paperwork, the protective language in the paperwork, it's not an LLC. Yes, an LLC provides a thin layer of protection, but if you really want to get nitty gritty, get to the paperwork, okay? So that was section 1. I want to go ahead, like I said, I'm skipping around because I don't want to be before you long. Section 2, accepting the terms. Let me put it back out here again so you can see it. I know you can read, I'm just reading along with you. As it says, by accessing or using our services, you confirm that you can form a binding contract with TikTok. Think about that. In the very first sentence, it says, by your mere actions of pressing that I agree button, you confirm that you are forming a binding contract with TikTok, that you accept these terms and that you agree to comply with them. Again, I'm really hoping that y'all are paying attention to the protective language in this paperwork. That section right there, by you hitting I agree, which 99% of people hit I agree without reading anything, or agreeing that you are accepting everything, all 14 of these sections you are agreeing to, right? So that's what that one says, accepting the terms. I said I want to go 1, 2. Let's look at 6, intellectual property rights. Now, I'm skipping around because intellectual property rights is something if you are putting content on TikTok, who owns it? You or them. Luckily, TikTok says they respect your intellectual property rights and asks that you do the same. Now, there's this red link is a link to a different policy, their copyright policy. I did read that, and I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm going to encourage you to go read it yourself and check it out. Just know that TikTok is cool with your content, so you good there. All right. Number 8. Number 8. Let's indemnity. This is why I say protective language in the paperwork, y'all. Let's look at number 8. It says, you agree to defend, indemnify, and hold harmless TikTok, its parents, subsidiaries, and affiliates, and each of their respective officers, directors, employees, agents, and advisor from any and all claims, liabilities, cost, expenses. I can keep reading. I mean, you see what it says there. By agreeing, by pressing that I agree button on your phone, you are telling the courts, you are telling TikTok that, yo, if anything happened, I'm agreeing that I'm not going to try to get any kind of financial claim. And if you think about that, they're layering their protection in the paperwork. Because one, when we looked at the first clause, your relationship with us, it automatically said, yo, you agree to arbitration. You agree that you're not going to be participating, or you cannot participate in any class action lawsuits, kind of like what Facebook is going through. You already opted out of that, so you waived your financial agreement, right? Then you read here, indemnity, it doubles that to say, yo, you are agreeing that you will not bring us, our subsidiaries, our parent companies, our CEOs, our CFOs, our marketing people, our employees. You can't sue nobody. That's what indemnity means. It means that you cannot hold anybody financially responsible, right? That is the definition of indemnity. Look it up using the Black's Law Dictionary. Don't just rely on Google because this is a legal term. So look it up in the Black's Law Dictionary. Indemnity. Can't hold nobody legally responsible. And they just cleared their entire team, entire organization. Okay? Now, what does number 10 say? Limitation of liability. Again, here I am, I'm talking about their layering, the protection in the paperwork using protective language. Let's bring it back up here. It says nothing in these terms shall exclude or limit our liability for losses which may not be lawfully excluded or limited by applicable law. What that is saying is this. Now, as much as we try to protect ourselves using protective language, using paperwork, not everything is protected by it. There are some things that not even arbitration can handle, like criminal. So if something criminally happens, it cannot be arbitrated. It actually has to go to court. Speaking of, let me, I guess, pause right here and give you a definition of what arbitration means, or what the process of arbitration means. Arbitration is simply a process to avoid going to court. When you agree to arbitration, you agree that you and the person you have an issue with, or the person you're trying to sue, there is going to go to a mediator. So it's only going to be three people: you, the person you're trying to sue, and the mediator. It's not going to be in the courts. It's not going to be public because arbitration is private. So nothing is going to happen. Whatever you agree to in that arbitration is going to be settled right then and there. Okay. Again, our arbitration is less expensive, right? Because there's a mediator, there's not a court, there's not a lot of forensics going on, not people trying to collect evidence to do this other. Is whatever y'all come to, how y'all hash it out between you and that third party mediation. That's what that is. That's what arbitration. So when we look at, let me pull this back up here. So when we're looking at the limitation of liability, it's saying like, yo, we understand that outside of things that can't be excluded, criminal activity and things of that nature, right? Great big violations of the law, those can't be excluded. Those things right there probably will go to court. But outside of that, look at this here. It says subject to, and I'm going to see if I can, subject to the paragraph above, we shall not be liable for. And look at the things that they say. Did I just say the things of things? I did. Ha! Look at what they said they would not be liable for. Any loss of profit. So if something happens on TikTok as to where your business gets destroyed or you're losing profit because of that, well, they're not liable. Think about how you would use that in your business to say, yo, by using my product, if something happens to you, I'm not liable. Just think about that, right? Loss of goodwill, loss of opportunity, loss of data suffered by you, or any indirect or consequential losses which may be incurred by you. Just look at that. Let me put it back out here again so you can see the protective language in the terms of service. As you're reading this, think about how you can apply this to your business and protect yourself, right? So that was 10. Last thing I want to look at is 12, because this is what was updated in the new terms of service. Okay. No, it's begging you, please read the following section carefully. It requires you to arbitrate disputes with TikTok, its immediate parent, and all individuals and affiliates involved in the provision of the platform or service, and limits the manner in which you can seek relief. That alone tells you how TikTok is really taking the necessary steps to protect themselves, right? Because by you agreeing to number 12, which is the way they handle dispute, that's why it's titled dispute resolution, is telling you, you are agreeing that you are limiting the manner in which you can seek relief. Think about how that would protect you in your business. If you were to tell anybody that says, hey, this didn't go right, or I'm unhappy, or I'm gonna take you to court. Well, if they sign the terms of service, they agree that they're limiting, right? Think about that word right there, limiting. They're limiting the liability in the terms of service, not in the limited liability company. See that? See that right there? Good. So I want to kind of go through it again. Let me put it back just a little bit more. As you read through number 12, it kind of tells you the process, right? The informal resolution process first. If you have a dispute, they'll first try to resolve it with you amicably. Okay. If not, then, you have to respond. It tells you how the arbitration and class action waiver. Okay. Section B is a waiver. Again, here it is in the language. You are, opting out of the fact that you can hold them harmless, that you can blame them for anything, that you can bring up litigation. It says here, you are agreed that after completing the informal resolution process, any remaining dispute, controversy, or claim relating to or arising out of your access, including any information with affiliates, so forth, will be resolved by binding individual arbitration rather than in court. It tells you right then and there, this ain't going to court. So if you so happily pressed agree, didn't read the terms, didn't know what was going on, you just want to use the platform, and something happens and you try to go to court, you're going to be moted. It's telling you right there, this ain't going to court. This is going to be arbitrated. Okay. So that's why I'm encouraging you to definitely consider incorporating a terms of service in your business. Okay. Because as we can see, it's the paperwork that limits the liability, not the limited liability company. Again, although I know the limited liability company does provide the layer of protection, but again, only if the paperwork is properly in place. Okay. Therefore, knowing that, the terms of service should immediately be drafted and put into place in your business. Okay. Yes, terms of services are for service-based businesses, but think about it. Because they can't be placed on your website, you can sell physical product through your website and have the end user agree to the terms of service to be covered. Okay. As a matter of fact, I do believe if you sell on Shopify, they have a template for terms of service that you can use that's automatically there. So if you have a site on Shopify, look for that template of terms of service. Make sure that you change the words to include your name, your affiliates, everything that we saw here. I mean, you can not plagiarize TikTok's terms of agreement, but you can look at it and look at the terms and use that as a model to set your own terms. Look at the language used, right? Look at who they named. They named themselves, their parent company. They named their affiliates, anybody affiliated with it. Use that model to sit up here and protect you and those who are associated with your business, right? Last thing, the terms of service is not the holy grail of protection. It's, in my opinion, just stronger than the LLC, meaning that you still want to have other insurances and protections in place, like business insurance, right? To help cover you in case anything should happen beyond what's covered in your terms and service. So with that being said, I did some research. For those of you, just in case you're not on Shopify, but you still want to implement terms of service in your business, there's a few. You can just Google terms of service and a bunch of things will come up. But one of the resources I found is called Termly, I do believe, and they have multiple tiers. As a matter of fact, let me bring them up here. 1 second. I want to kind of show you. Now, I am not affiliated with them. I do not have an affiliate link or anything like that with them. I just was doing my research and found them to be probably one of the simpler, more simplest one. Here it is. Let me bring it up on the desktop. One of this termly.io. We can see it is right here in the link. Let me put it there. Termly.io, all-in-one compliance solution for businesses. Now, if we look at the pricing, they do have a free option. And you can get one basic legal policy. So if you wanted to even just start with a terms of service for your website, if you're not on Shopify, who offers it for free, you can go to them, termly.io, sign up for the free plan, and at least get a terms of service for free and incorporate into your website. Now, of course, they have other ones where you can have multiple legal policies, and even look at the pro. For $15 a month, you can have unlimited legal policies for your business that will help cover you, that you can have people agree to just so you can be covered. Now think about that. 99.9% of people hit I agree without even reading the terms of service. So if you put terms of service on your website and in your business, and you protect yourself by doing so, it's not your fault if somebody agreed to it and didn't read it, right? Because that's something that unfortunately we all do. We all agree to everything without reading it because we just immediately want to use whatever service it is we're opting in for. So with that in mind, again, I'm telling you, go ahead, get your terms of service in place. Okay. Understand that there's definitely a lot more paperwork that a business can say. Like I said in the beginning, we'll kind of talk about that later, but just so keep that in mind. And that depends on, and also let me say this, because it depends on where you are in your business that will determine which paperwork you should have. But as you are in the selling process, if you're selling things to customers, providing service with the customers, by all means, definitely make sure you have a terms of service. And that is it for me, family. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you watching the video. As always, if you found value in this, make sure you go ahead and click the thumbs up, click the share button, click that bell notification, hit the subscribe button, do everything. Leave a comment. Let me know. I want to know if this is helpful or not. You know, always be real with your favorite uncle, cousin. I can take it. Know that I love you, and I will see you in the next video. And until then, peace. Perfect.